Morning, everybody. Pam and Jet here. I just wanted to do another couple of videos on the whole marriage topic, specifically addressing some things that Rebellious Rebecca had posted on my video on marriage and in reply to some comments on Peach's video on marriage. Um, I have a lot to say on this topic, and I don't think that my last video fully expressed everything, all of my different issues, and all of my different, problems with the whole concept of marriage. I have a whole big page of notes and scribbles and things in front of me. So I'm going to try to go through everything. I'm going to try not to ramble too much. I'm going to try to get through everything. But honestly, this might turn into 2 or 3 videos. Again, hi, Rebellious Rebecca. Thanks for your questions and your comments and everything. I'm actually going to start off by reading 2 of the comments that you left. The first one from Peach's page, or Peach's video, and then the one that you left on my video. So this is Rebellious Rebecca in her own words. It is necessary, in my view, to have a public commitment, because most of the time what people consider to be a feeling of in love is fleeting. Someone bases their relationship off the feeling of love rather than the commitment they made while in a heightened state of love. Often a relationship will disintegrate. Butterflies fade, and without promises, people wander and a relationship is lost. Which is fine if you want a new love every 5 years, but not if you want someone for a lifetime. Honestly, I agree with most of what you said, just not quite in the way that you were saying it. Again, I don't think a public commitment is ever really necessary, again, unless for legal reasons, again, you need witnesses. I agree that love is fleeting. That's just how love is. It is fleeting, and I don't think you should base a relationship on love. I think the main issue here is marriage is based on that concept, and people going into this with this romantic notion, and it fades. And I don't know about you, but once romance fades, once you sort of fall out of love with somebody, it gets kind of tricky. And I don't think people should be trapped in a relationship once that part has passed. And again, the feeling of the commitment as opposed to love, then one shouldn't have anything to do with the other. And I should be able to enter into a marriage contract with a close friend who I feel a commitment of friendship with, and love shouldn't really factor into the whole thing. So I'm gonna go back and readdress a few of the other things that you said in that, but let me get to your second comment that you left specifically on my page. You said, not that I am sure that people who would intentionally leave the other over little stuff should get married in the first place, but it is something of a comfort to know that it will take as much effort, desire, planning, and need to exit a relationship as it did to start one. What do you think? Meaning, what do I think? And P.S. I totally agree with the ridiculous media portrayals of marriage, as well as the consumerism, and I think the save the dates are dumb-ish too. I'm glad that we at least agree on that. The rest of what you said here, I think, is a very big problem. The idea, again, it's the idea of trapping someone. And I don't think that's right. I don't think that, we entered into this, and I'm not going to say on a whim, because I understand that people do think long and hard before they get married. But the fact that once what that relationship was is gone, once the sense of romance, once the sense of affection towards each other has changed, because that's the bottom line. People change, circumstances change, and to enter into this binding contract based on things that are more ephemeral, it should be easy to then let go of that. And that's why I'm not for the whole marriage thing. be in a committed relationship. You don't need to sign a paper and saying that you're going to stay. Because if you do, then again, it's so much more difficult, and it makes things crazy difficult for everybody. And people who would leave stay because of the fact of how difficult it is to leave. And I know that right now, because of how bad the economy is, there's a lot of people in these terrible relationships that are getting worse because of financial issues and everything, that are staying because they can't afford to get a divorce. And I think that's horrible. I think that's a horrible thing, to be trapped in a relationship like that. Um, and again, okay, so going back to your first point about, that marriage should be based on the commitment as opposed to the love, because of the fact that love is so fleeting. Which, like I said, I totally agree with that. I totally agree that you know uh, things just sort of start to crumble after you lose that if it's not based on something bigger. Um, but again, I don't think that's an argument for marriage. I don't think saying that, basing a relationship on love is a bad idea, and that you need to have more than that, or you need to make a stern commitment to some other person. I don't think that that's an argument for marriage. I think that's a real big argument against it, because of the fact that, again, like I said, feelings change, people change, situations change, and there's a sense of, well, I've made the commitment to this person, and now I'm stuck. And I know in another comment that you left, you said that you have some experience with counseling or something, and that couples that go through marriage planning beforehand um, stay in the relationship longer, and that they don't get divorced and things. Um, that doesn't really mean anything. That uh, as I was saying, um, two people staying in a relationship, that's meaningless. That doesn't speak to the quality of the relationship. And I'm not saying that everybody who's married um, is somehow like miserable. But I know that there's a lot of people out there that they, you know, they either feel stuck, or they're in there for the obligation because they feel they made the commitment, and they're making compromise after compromise after compromise for the other. And this goes both ways. Two people making compromises to fit into this relationship, I think it's disingenuous. I really did. I think the whole thing is. Um, but yeah, trapping somebody and being like, well, we made this commitment, so now you can't leave, or I can't leave. Um, I really, it's a sense of being trapped. And if you really love somebody, do you want that? Do you want them there once things have changed? Do you want them to feel trapped? Because I think that in itself is detrimental to the concept of love. I think it erodes things. Um, so why would you want somebody to feel that way if you care about them, even if things aren't the same anymore? Um, and like I said, I agree with that, the fact that love is fleeting, and that, and I'm repeating myself a lot. I'm trying to go through everything. Um, One of the main things is that, and this goes back to the 4 points that Peach had made. I don't think that the argument for, oh well, insurance and the issues with having children and all of that stuff, I don't think those are arguments for marriage. I think those are big arguments for the system being majorly flawed, and change when it comes to parental rights and insurance and sort of the different responsibilities when it comes to legal rights in certain circumstances and things like that. I think all of those things need to be changed, so that you don't need to enter into a binding contract with one single person forever in order to have your kids be taken care of and all of those other things. I think they should be completely separate entities. All right. Let me pause for a minute, and I'm going to get onto my next topic so I can separate these out a little bit. So that's probably going to be my first video. Start the next one. Okay, so we're back. I'm going to go through some of this different things. The fundamental flaws in the modern relationship. And I think this is the seed that goes on to making for marriage just being a bad idea. The commitments, the